happens. And we played that first show opening up for the Toasters and Adam Birch, and it was received really well. And then a week later, we played like the first one that we had scheduled, which was with the Fadden joystick. And then it was after that, Britt and Tim are like, yeah, so you're kind of in the band now, right? I'm like, yeah, I guess I am.
Trapped him.
All right, Catbite, welcome to the Question the Answers podcast. How you doing?
Good.
Pretty good.
Stoked to be here.
Yeah, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing all right, man. You know, just trying to enjoy my Sunday. I've got Tim, Brittany, and Chris. That's right. Okay, yeah, Ben couldn't join us today, but you guys just got back from LA, or Long Beach specifically, kind of starting on your new record as a follow-up to your debut self-titled record that came out on badtimerecords. And man, like, congratulations for selling that out. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's something I never really like thought of like happening.
I mean, thank you to everybody who bought a copy. Yeah, like Tim said, I don't think we didn't really know what to expect. This band's just a little over 2 years old, so, and the record that we put out's a little over, a year and a couple months. So we didn't really know what to expect when we put it out, and the fact that we have sold out of it officially is, exceeds all of our expectations. So we're super stoked that happened, and everybody that did buy a copy, thank you. And a little bird told me that there will be a repress at some point. So if you didn't get a vinyl copy, keep your eyes peeled, and at some point there should be another round available.
Yeah, that little bird said early 2021.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I heard the record like pretty quickly after it came out. The first time I heard about it was through Punk News. And I mean, damn, like I was just blown away, man, because it was such a refreshing take on the whole ska sound that I hadn't been hearing from a lot of bands in a long time. And it just really caught my attention early on. And I remember, so I've known Adam Davis from Omnigone for many years. And I remember hitting him up and being like, dude, have you heard this band? He's like, yes, like they're incredible. Fucking A, they're like the best ska band out there. I'm like, yeah, dude, right? Like they're so good. And I mean, I'm not here to like, just sing your praises all day long or anything like that. But man, seriously, for my money, it's probably one of the best ska records I've heard in the last like 10 years or so, man. So my hat's off to you.
Oh.
And,
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm really excited to see what you guys are going to do. And, everything that the whole kind of family of bands with Bad Time seems like you guys are just really in it for the right reasons. And, you have your heart in the music. And, I kind of wanted to talk about that today and kind of see like, what ska, is to you guys and like where you see it going and what your role in that whole thing is. And, so briefly, anyone who doesn't know about Catbite is a ska band with a little bit of like a soul kind of R&B edge to it. They're from the Philadelphia area. They're on Bad Time Records. They're part of a family of ska bands that, some people are kind of classifying it as the fourth wave. Some of it are, I guess the Bad Operation guys have dubbed it New Tone and, all this kind of stuff, which is pretty awesome. But, give me a little bit of a brief history of the band and, like what you guys are all about, where you came from and how Catbite came to be.
All right.
You want to take it away?
Yeah, sure. Why not? I'm Tim. I've been playing in ska bands for about 9 years or so, 9 or 10 years. I was in a band called the Snails with actually our bass player, Ben, who isn't an original Catbite member, but he joined the band about a year into our formation. But I was playing in the Snails, and we did a bunch, like we were like a traditional ska like soul band, and just start, doing a lot of touring and all around like the East Coast and like most part of the country. And I just like, was really got to really know the ska scene. And then we kind of stopped playing ska, and I kind of really missed the ska scene. And I left that band shortly before we started forming Catbite. And me and Brittany, we just kind of wanted to start a band, and like we had started doing some like open mic type things. She like went to school for music, for vocal performance and stuff, and like was in a band back when she lived in Florida, and like hadn't been like in a proper band since then. And I had just quit my band, and we just like wanted to start a band. And it, for some reason, we just kind of started doing ska stuff. Like we started by doing like a Little Richard cover. Little Richard's Miss Anne was just like a great 12-bar blues rock and roll song. And we just did like a duo, her playing keys, me playing guitar, and like a tambourine on my foot. And like did a video of that, and like got a like really good response from it. And then my coworker and good friend Johnny is a bass player, and I would just kind of like put it in his ears, like I was like, I kind of want to start a ska band. You want to start a ska band with us? Because he had actually just quit his longtime punk band called Posers, which they're awesome. You should check them out. They're like 77 punk rock. And so the three of us just kind of just started talking about the idea of doing like a cool, like just like spitballing ideas. Like it's kind of, let's do like, kind of like Selector style, like two-tone, but like with rock and roll. Cause like, that's just like all of our collective, and like jazz and R&B and soul. Like that's the type of shit we all like. And there's just not a lot of bands doing that. And it just felt natural. Like when I write songs, like to this day, like any of like the songs that I like start writing for Catbite, they start as rock and roll songs. And then I like figure out how like, because it's just like easy to write like a rock and roll song, and then we just kind of morph it.
And we
tweak it to like this sound that we want it to be. So yeah, we just kind of started doing that. We went through a couple of like drummer friend. We wanted Chris to be our drummer. He's like our best friend. I also played, me and Ben played with Chris, with Sammy K. I don't know if you know him. He is a ska veteran.
Yeah.
So we played in his band for years, and like we're all good friends. But he was pretty busy with his other bands.
He's in like 800 bands.
Yeah, so he's like, I don't know, I want to be.
It was only 5.
Oh. It may as well be. Though. Yeah, that is such a drummer trope, man. Like they're in bands, they're like such a hot commodity, and especially like good drummers.
Good drummers,
exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
And yeah, I've seen you play, man. You're top notch. So yeah.
Thank you.
But yeah, like we booked studio time with our friend to just like record like 3 demos, two covers and an original. We did a Selector song, that Little Richard song, and then the first song we wrote, Come On Baby, which is on our debut record.
Yeah.
And so we scheduled studio time before we even had a drummer. And then we pretty much convinced Chris to show up to the recording studio with us, and he learned the songs in the recording studio, and we just demoed those 3 songs.
Yeah, we were at the last Supernova that they had. I was playing. So Ben and I, the bass player Ben and I, we also played with Adam Birch from Adam Birch and the Versions. So Adam Birch and the Versions were playing at Supernova. So Ben and I were there, and Tim and Britt came down to hang out. And it was like one night we were back at the hotel chilling, and they were like, "So we have some studio time, and we don't have a drummer. Do you want to come and track these 3 tunes?" So I was like, "For sure, yeah, I'll do it." They're like, "Okay, cool." Like this is like Saturday night, and they're like, "Okay, we're doing it on Tuesday." I was like, "They're like, when can you rehearse?" I was like, "I can't. I have stuff going on." I was like, "It's fine. Just well, send me what you got. We'll go to the studio and we'll just make it happen." And then we hadn't even rehearsed. Got to the studio, and while like the drums are being mic'd and set up, I just took a piece of paper and a pen. Was just like, "All right, what are the forms? All right, cool. Intro, verse, bridge, chorus, whatever." And then in the span of I think 5-6 hours, we just tracked 3 songs, and that was like the beginning of it. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll come and record with you guys, sure. And then the next day, while we're getting the mixes back, Tim's like, yeah, so we have a show in like 2 weeks. I was like, all right. I mean, yeah. I mean, I guess we got to learn a few more tunes. So then we had like a rehearsal and then like learn 3 or 4 more tunes so we could play like a 25-minute set. And we played the set. It was like our first show was with the Fad and Joystick, I think it was.
Well, the first show was with the Toasters.
Oh, right. And then like
Your first show was with the Toasters?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very last minute. So we had our first show scheduled. It was with the Fad and Joystick at Kung Fu Necktie. Basically because Brent Friedman, who's in We Are the Union, I've known him for years, and he's like, hey Tim, does your new ska band want to open the show? Because like there was no ska bands in Philly really. And I'm like, yeah, sure.
Right.
Like as we have like 2 songs.
Right. And then a week before that, Adam Birch was playing with the Toasters a week before with our scheduled first show. So I talked to Adam and was like, hey, do you think my new ska band could jump on this bill? Because there's only 2 bands. I'm like, we have a show in a week, and it'd be cool just to like not really even announce it, just to like run our set and see what happens. And we played that first show opening up for the Toasters and Adam Birch, and it was received really well.
Mm-hmm.
And then a week later, we played like the first one that we had scheduled, which was with the Fad and Joystick. And then it was after that, Britt and Tim were like, yeah, so you're kind of in the band now, right? I'm like, yeah, I guess I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hey, that's a hell of a good plan if you're gonna try to capture a drummer's attention. Yeah, just basically make them part of the band.
Yeah. So that's pretty much the start of Catbite.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, so you talked a little bit about the fact that there were no ska bands in the Philly scene. I mean, is that kind of still the case? Are there any newer bands maybe that have popped up over the last few years since you guys came together?
Not really. I mean, there's this band Ruder Than You, who's like a legendary like ska band. They like on very rare occasions will still get together and play, but that's like once in a blue moon when like the English Beat comes to town or something like that.
Sure.
And then Doug from Ruder Than You, he has like an original like trad ska, like early first wave ska bands called Rocksteady. They play sporadically. And then there's a band called West Kensington's, and they play sporadically. But
yeah,
I wouldn't really say there's any bands that have formed in the last few years. It's actually kind of surprising seeing the interest in ska come back nationally, but not really reflected here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping it does, because
I
would, we would love to have bands like, repping our hometown that play similar style music, but it just really hasn't happened. There were a couple bands that were around for a few years, but they ended up breaking up over the last few years, and nobody's really kind of filled that.
Right.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, in the last few years, it does seem like there has been a bit of an uptick in terms of the amount of attention that's being given to ska and the ska genre as a whole. I mean, we have a few bands like the Interrupters who have really, I think, become like the band that's been noticed because of the, obviously the help with like their affiliation with like Rancid and Tim Armstrong and all that stuff. And like they've been on huge tours. They've played pretty much every festival you can think of. They're on like all of them. And then all the work that Jer and Ska 2 Network has done to like really bring that out. I mean, hats off to them for sure. And then not to mention just some really quality bands like you guys, Bad Operation, all the stuff that Kill Lincoln and Bad Time Records. And, one of the things I've pointed this out a few times on the podcast, and, I can't say enough about how I'm noticing it. And I think a lot of other people notice it too, is that you all are also very good about like uplifting each other. Like you guys all elevate the other bands. And that's something that I don't always notice in other like small genre, scenes, you see it a little bit in like the hardcore scene, you see a little bit in like this thing, but like the indie rock scene, dude, it's like every band for themselves, like, like emo and like all of that stuff. And it's something that I've always kind of felt like a little strongly about. It's like, man, like we're all kind of in this to help and support each other. We should be sharing each other's content. We should all be recommending each other. And
Mhm.
like every time somebody puts out a new video or a new single, like spread that shit. And like
Exactly,
my
yeah.
hat's off to you again. Like you guys are very good at doing that. And I think that that is a huge piece of that puzzle of how it's becoming more notable. And I mean, do you think that that's just something that's like inherent in the scene that you guys are in and like the genre, or is that something that you have all been like just proactively doing because that's part of like the plan?
I
I mean, like for me personally, like when I was like playing in my old band, the Snails, and doing a lot of touring and playing ska shows, like I felt like our band at the time was not doing that at all, and it kind of felt it seemed to be like happening all across the scene. Like there was, I feel like the ska scene was very cliquey. Like there's there's the traditional ska bands, there's the third wave ska bands, and like
They kind of just like stick to that.
yeah, and like I just noticed that like there wasn't like people like got gung ho about ska. It was more like the third wave bands were like, yeah, ska, 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 and then like there was just a lot of other bands that were just like all for themselves, and like not saying that's a bad thing, but like it was just noticeable that like it wasn't this type of community. And then I feel like just in like the creation of like Bad Time Records, and like that kind of just brought this sort of unity, because there wasn't like many, I don't know, it just seemed like all the scenes were like they had their own little thing, and Bad Time just kind of is like this nice blanket, like worldwide blanket. I mean, it's mostly US at this point, but like it seems to be even spreading like beyond the US, and like I don't know, it just seems like in the past years like things have totally changed with like the relationships between bands and stuff, and it just like,
which is great.
yeah.
I mean, I feel like Mike started Bad Time like literally to create a community, to create the exact sort of thing like we're talking about, to create a community, to create a family, to create people, friends who are stoked for their other friends. But what's rad about it is there's, when he started it, and like all the bands are affiliated with it, and I mean you could even go even to bands that aren't on Bad Time that are just rad bands, rad ska bands, skapunk fans, whatever. It was never said or like mandated your affiliation with Bad Time. You're like, oh, you have to promote these bands, you have to share this stuff. We just do it because they're our friends. Like, so that's sort of inherent, like we're part of Bad Time, we're part of the community, but nobody's like, oh, well, you need to post this many things, or we need, like, you just do it because you're stoked to see your friends put out rad shit, and that just snowballs and perpetuates, and it just is really what just pushes it. And it's like an unspoken agreement that, like, being a part of Bad Time is like, okay, like you just want to see your friends succeed, and you just want to see, fucking be stoked about everybody putting out rad music, and it just, it kind of just is almost just happens naturally.
Yeah, and like everyone's realizing you can't just do this on your own.
Right.
Like it takes a family.
Absolutely. Like, because I have the record label that I, started several years back. And, one of the things that I tried to instill in like any of the bands that I was working with was, I want this to feel like a support system amongst all of the bands, even if you don't know each other. Like it's not that like, and to what, you were saying, it's like, I don't feel like it should ever be mandated, that a band has to, support this band that may be playing a genre of music that you're just not interested in, because that doesn't make sense. That doesn't feel natural. Right. But I do feel like there is something to be said about like, well, but we're all kind of under this umbrella, and it's not going to hurt you to share these things. Like, exactly. I mean, if anything, people might be curious about it, but that's a good thing. Like the curiosity, I think, leads to exploration, and then ultimately like understanding. And you're like, oh, like there's a new band that I've never heard of that this band that I do like is sharing. And now I like know about it, and then I can formulate an opinion when otherwise I may not have known about them at all. And I just think that that's such a small thing that any band could do at any time. And I guess if I could wish for it to happen more and have it happen, that's what I'd like to happen. But you can't hold people accountable for not doing it either.
Right.
We're all kind of just doing this. We're all kind of like learning as we go. So, but I wanted to ask you, what are some of like the highlights that you guys have had over the years since you started?
We got to play Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I mean, everybody do one.
Thanksgiving. That was sick.
Thanksgiving last year, we had the pleasure and opportunity to open up a super rad ska show. Goldfinger headline, Suicide Machines, Planet Smashers, Big D, The Kids Table, Kill Lincoln, us, and Backyard Superheroes from New Jersey. So it was something I haven't experienced in a while, where you have like almost 2,000 cap room. We were second, and by the time that we went on, there was 3/4 of the way filled, and just the reception from the crowd, but also just the camaraderie for all the bands playing. You know, definitely seeing like the older generation with the newer generation, and everybody just, again, kind of goes back to community, just super stoked that it's happening and that it sold out. It's like, what the fuck? Nobody's really expecting that in 2019, but there it was.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Like Suicide Machines, Goldfinger, I mean, those guys, you know, are definitely part of like that, you know, third wave kind of, you know, crew. And I mean, they're still killing it. I mean, Suicide Machines' new record, I think, was fantastic.
It's amazing,
So
yeah.
good.
Yeah. And Goldfinger, I mean, I'll be honest, like I'm not a huge Goldfinger fan. I mean, they write great songs, but I'm just not really that into them. But they're fun live. I caught them actually at the Back to the Beach festival that John Feldman put together out here in Huntington Beach a couple of years ago. And they were fun to watch. I mean, I'd seen them years and years and years ago too. But I mean, that's a festival that I kind of hope comes back around, because I mean, did you guys actually go to that at all? Did you try to make it out for either of those?
No, I think we might have had gigs. I think we might have had gigs on the East Coast. We didn't get out to it. I feel like we were busy for it.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be something.
That'd be
so cool to go
Yeah.
to or even play. That'd be like, that's a goal for the future.
Yeah, so Thanksgiving was definitely one, and then for me it was just going to Fest last year. I mean, just the whole experience. I had wanted to go for so many years and had a bunch of friends, bands play, or people that I just know have gone and always told me how great it was. But just with work and my schedule, I was never able to make it happen. So definitely being at Fest, seeing all these fucking rad bands, and then the showcase that we were on was definitely like a bad time showcase. It was us, Kill Lincoln, SMN from Japan. It was just super, super fun. So Fest for me was one that definitely sticks out when thinking about like past experiences and shows.
Absolutely. I was at that show, and I've mentioned this before on the podcast, where I felt like at Fest, that was probably my favorite show of the entire Fest, was that lineup where it had you guys, Kill Lincoln, Ska Network, SMN, and Free Kick too, right?
No, not Free Kick.
No, the
Duppies
open up. They're
okay.
Gainesville locals. They're good friends.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, it was SMN, you guys. Okay, yeah, but I mean, that was a killer lineup. The energy in that room was just frenetic, you know, and everyone was digging it. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've only been to Fest twice, but I've looked into like previous lineups, and you know, every once in a while they'll like pepper in a ska band, like Mustard Plugs played there a few times over the years, and like, but I don't really know if they've ever really had any other real ska bands go there.
Yeah.
I mean, shameless self-promotion. We'll be back at Fest next year, God willing, with Scott Toon, with Kill Lincoln, with Omnigone, with SMN, and I Mustard Plugs playing it. I believe there's a couple. I think there's a couple other ska bands that are playing it.
Yeah.
So
well, there was. Yeah, I think the idea was there was
like a bad time.
There was going to be like a Bad Time Records showcase, basically. So it was going to be like 2 full days, like two ska whole shows, like 5 bands each day, like in a row. Because yeah, so that was supposed to happen this year, but next year, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, if last year was any indication of the desire to have ska music present, I mean, I think that was a pretty good indication, pretty clear. Yeah,
definitely.
But yeah, I mean, with festivals like that, I mean, obviously with shows not happening right now, you know, after that album, the debut album came out and it received a lot of, you know, positive accolades. Were you guys getting a lot of like requests for tours or anything like that? I mean, prior to everything kind of shutting down.
Yeah, that's the worst part is that like basically we right like spring of 2020 was when we were gonna start going wild on like actually touring and stuff. We had like a Midwest tour with Mustard Plug that we had to cancel, and then like a bunch of like festivals and just like a lot of weekenders and stuff. We were basically just gonna hit like the whole East Coast like nonstop, and actually do West Coast and Japan, which we had that scheduled. We didn't even get to announce that. That was supposed to be this September. We were gonna do 5 or 6 days California tour, and then go to Japan for about a week and a half, and then all that happened. But like it's great. Like pretty much we just started getting a bunch of like cool requests and like tours and stuff, and like that's right when we were about to be ready to like hit the road. Like we were pretty much ready to go. So
Yeah.
but I mean, as soon as shows happen again, we're gonna be touring nonstop. That's like the goal.
Awesome. And you guys just got back from Long Beach to record your follow-up record, and it's going to be a full-length record, right?
Yeah.
And I assume it's going to be put out on Bad Time Records.
Probably, yeah.
Probably. Okay, so nothing's final, but
yeah, pretty much like that's it. It makes sense.
Got it. Yeah, but no formal announcement's been made or anything like that.
No, not yet.
And I mean, so how was that experience? I mean, do you want to dish on in like who you were recording with, if you had a producer or anything like that, or is it too early for that?
Yeah, no. So we for a long time I've been in contact to know this guy, Davey Warsop. He played in he used to be in a band called the Beat Union out of the UK back in, I want to say, the early 2000s, maybe something like that. And then he was in a really cool band called Suede Head, and now he plays in a band called Sharp Shock. He's a great dude. Like he's done a lot of great production work and stuff. And we actually, Britt and I had the pleasure of like, talking to him when his band was supporting the Interrupters on their last tour. And we were just talking to him, gave him our record because like I figured he would like it. It's like right up his alley. And he hit me up when he got back from tour and was like, I'm in love with this. This is like, I would love to produce you guys. And so we, shortly after after we figured we have to cancel this Japan tour and all of our tours and stuff, we already had flights out to LA to go for that tour. And we said, you know what, fuck it, let's just keep those flights and record our record. Because like we had we like briefly talked about it as a band, like trying to probably get to the studio end of 2020, like before COVID happened and everything. Like that was kind of the tentative goal. So pretty much all of quarantine we've just been writing songs, and pretty much wrote this entire record in the past like 4 or 5 months.
Mm-hmm.
Like we had no new songs.
Maybe even less than.
Yeah, it might have been even. I mean, like we were slowly working on. I had a couple songs.
You had ideas, but we hadn't actually even started rehearsing them.
Yeah,
and I think we started rehearsing them 2 months before we were initially supposed to fly out.
Yeah.
We started like actually putting the songs together probably in July, and then wrote the entire record. Like we finished writing the last song the week before we flew out. So it was like we were like down the wire because like we were all staying home and we were just quarantining and just writing on our own and like doing some remote recording and stuff. But then once like things were lifted a little bit, we started rehearsing again in like July. But yeah, so it's produced by Davey Warsop at his studio in Long Beach.
Strong Studios.
Strong Studios. It's good.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, is the music, would you say, like an evolution, like for you guys at all, or is it pretty much same kind of style, more or less?
I would say a little bit of both.
Okay.
Yeah, like we're definitely not straying from our style. It's a very Catbite record. I would say.
It's like a little more I say aggressive. It's not like
There might be.
I don't know.
I think there might be like a little bit more, a couple songs with a little bit more distortion
yeah.
and a little bit more of an edge to it. But I feel like it still retains like the Catbite sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean,
I feel like it's a more meaningful record to us, I think.
okay.
And now like we have Ben now in the band who wasn't on our first record, and like Ben just like I think brought a lot more. Like I love Johnny, our old bass player. He's like great, but like the three of us have been playing, or me and Chris have been playing with Ben musically for years and years and years, and like that I think it shows. Like it's just like we're able to lock in to things. I don't know. I'm really excited about this record.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone in the band had a lot more input into this record, whereas the first record was like, I feel like a lot more like not group writing for some of this shit. Like I don't know. Like we were very unprepared when we recorded our first record. We like, I don't know. It was like because we were barely a band at the time. We played like 7 shows. And we like were just kind of like casually writing stuff, and then we had wanted to just do an EP, and then time just kept ticking, and we just kind of were like, well, now we have like 6 songs, so let's just write an album. And then we just like kind of banged out like 2 other songs like the week before we recorded, which we kind of did again this record. But I don't know. It just be a Catbite record. It just feels like we like as a band wrote these songs. Mm-hmm. Whereas the other one, it was kind of like not as much.
That's great. Yeah, with Tsunami Bomb, like right now, we're in the process of writing and demoing a lot of stuff for our follow-up record as well. And it's an interesting experience because we're kind of spread out. Like we have members who live on the East Coast, and then the rest of us all live out here on the West Coast. But we're not really close together. Like Dominic, the bass player, lives right above me, but that's it. Like the other 2 members live in like the South Bay and the North Bay, and then Oubliette lives on the East Coast. So we can't really do that kind of collaboration together. Yeah. And so all that stuff is just done via email, which is, it's fine, but it's not the same as being in the same room. So and at least you guys have an opportunity to do that within closer proximity, because you're all in Philly, right?
Yeah. So right here.
Yeah. That's cool. And I mean, are there going to be like any guests, any like additional like things thrown in there to like surprise people?
we got some surprises.
I don't know if we should say.
Yeah, you'll find out.
Well, we can leave it at that, but that's really cool.
Yeah, I think it's cool when, I don't know, it just feels more fun to, like, the way the songs appear on the record are like how we want them to sound, so it's not just the 4 of us. Like we're expanding to our friends and stuff, and there's gonna be about 4 or 5 guests.
You might see some guest keys, some guest horns, and maybe a guest vocal or 2. So there'll definitely be some of our friends will be called in to lend their services and help out, which I'm stoked for.
Yeah,
sweet. Yeah. Do you guys have like a dream tour lineup that you'd like to see happen sometime down the road?
Well, I mean, I feel like we all collectively, and especially everybody in Bad Time, is like, Bad Time 2021, we're going to do a tour. So like, I mean, there's multiple tours that I would love to see happen. I would love to see a Bad Time family tour.
Yeah.
And
I want to go on tour with Jeff Rosenstock. That'd be probably the coolest thing for me. Or Bruce Lee band, or like some Mike Park shit,
Have you ever had a chance to see the Bruce Lee band?
No, I wish. That new record, I mean, everything they put out is just fucking gold, and especially that new record that came out last year. Like, oh god, or was it 2 years ago? No, last year.
No, it was that.
Yeah, I mean, and outside of that, like, I don't know. I feel like we're all just very open that if a touring opportunity happened for us with bands that made sense. I mean, there's like a list of bands that I grew up listening to that I'm like, oh, I'm absolutely going on tour with this band or this band or this band. So I feel like we're definitely open to that, and we hope something like that happens. But we're waiting and seeing when this all blows over, and then we're trying to poise ourselves to be in the best possible position that once things do. I mean, I don't think touring is going to be possible until everything is like 100% over, back to normal, have a vaccine, and everybody is safe to go to shows. But we're definitely trying to put ourselves in the position to, once that is a reality, really be able to hit the ground running and just go with whatever is given to us or presented to us.
Yeah.
Do you think that, I mean, because I agree with you, like, I think the safest way to go about it is to wait until a fully vetted vaccine is out, that it's been distributed to, 90+% of the population, or however, whatever the specialists say is like the right way to go. But my prediction is that it won't be until late next year, at the earliest.
That's what I think as well.
Yeah. But in the meantime, though, if you're going to be putting out a new record, I mean, you guys have been pretty good about releasing content, like virtual content. You guys have done a couple of live streams. You've been putting out a few like videos that you guys have created yourselves, as well as, you did the split with Omnigone, which was really great, by the way. Like, I really enjoyed that.
Thank you.
And then, so do you think that you will try to do more like live streamed shows as a way to support the release of this new record once it comes out? I know some bands, like the Dirty Nil, I know comes to mind. Like, they're doing like a virtual tour, right?
Yeah, that thing is so cool.
Also, the Dirty Nil is like one of our favorite bands. They're like I saw them a couple years ago. They opened up for Flag. It was the first time I saw them. I saw them like 4 times after that. They're like all of our, like,
so
one of our
good.
fucking favorite bands. They're so good.
Yeah.
Put that down. I would love the tour of Dirty Nil.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
I would love
I will
that.
say.
Yeah, I caught them with White Reaper this
Yeah.
last year at
Also one of my
this
favorite
place here in
bands.
Berkeley. And man, what a show. Like, I knew about the Dirty Nil. I didn't really know much about White Reaper, but I just kind of went on a whim by myself, and I ran into a buddy of mine at the show, and I was just like, dude, this is awesome.
Yeah, that was a great lineup.
So
I saw
much
them too.
guitar.
Yeah.
So much. Yeah.
I mean,
But no, sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
no, I was gonna say, I mean, we really haven't even formulated any sort of plan about, because we literally just got back from recording the record, which was like,
Speak for yourself.
Excuse me? Well, Timmy has a bunch of ideas all the time. But I mean, I would be open to something like that. I don't know realistically what we.
I mean, probably some music videos.
I mean, we're gonna do some wild shit. That's all. Like, pretty much every day when I'm like making food, get a little stoned, whatever. The gears are turning. Like, I'm just like always just like thinking like, what can we do? Like, this is unprecedented shit. Like, we can't play shows. Like,
Yeah.
and this is like, this is our fucking baby, this band. Like, we're all like so in it, and it's like it just sucks with like the timing of everything. Like, I feel like, after playing in bands for like so long, and like then Catbite, like, we just kind of seem to be like doing a lot better than any other band that I've been in, and like it's just like it sucks with the timing, but like I feel like we're in a good spot, just like trying to just constantly think about new cool things to do on the internet. Like, I feel like we accepted the fact that like we're not gonna be playing shows for a minute early on, and then it's like move past that shit, and then like let's just focus on like what's cool, like what would people want to see. And like, so yeah, I mean, kind of, for the past couple weeks, this record has kind of just been the priority, and we've kind of like that's our focus. But now that the record's recorded, I feel like we're just gonna go back to the drawing board and just like try and figure out like some cool shit, and I got some ideas already.
Timmy
All we
ideas.
have is time now, so.
Yeah.
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 Well, I mean, so far, I think you guys have been doing a great job. And, my hope is that once things do get back to normal, that, we'll have enough venues that survive, and I mean, I don't know how it's been out there in Philadelphia, like Kung Fu Necktie. I heard of one place closing down, but I think Kung Fu Necktie is still like okay, right? Like they're kind of safe and I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
For the time being. I mean,
Right.
which also brings up a larger issue. If you don't know about Save Our Stages, if you don't know about the National Independent Venue Association, any of the Save Our Stages Act, any of that stuff, whomever is watching, please check that out. 90% of all venues in this country are owned by the same two companies. Independent venues are what keeps musicians and bands alive, and what is how bands get discovered and how you cut your teeth and do what you need to do is playing independent venues. They need to be preserved and saved. Please check out Save Our Stages. Please check out NEVA. It's at a breaking point right now with independent venues, and if we start losing independent venues, that's going to be a very, very bad thing when tours do open up. So definitely Save Our Stages, Save Our Stages, Save Our Stages, please.
yeah, thank you for mentioning that for sure. I'll definitely add the link, in the video, but yeah, well, hey, all that's awesome, man. I'm really excited for you guys with this new record. And, again, my hat's off to you for the first record. Wanted to kind of shift gears here and talk about a few things that I like to ask every guest. So who are some bands that you think people may not know about, but you are totally aware of and people should know about? Like if you could name a few, and they don't have to be like local to Philly or anything, but just, anyone that you think is just, they should definitely check out like right away.
I was kind of thinking about this earlier. Thank you for the heads up on this question. So I was actually thinking of some like Philly specific bands that like I've been into, and like bands that we have been like trying to play with and stuff. Some bands are Soul Glow. They're fucking awesome, like super heavy, like with like elements of like hip hop and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They're like a Philly band. They're so cool. Definitely check them out. They just put out an EP that it will melt your face. And some of our other like friends like in Philly, there's a band called Teenage Bigfoot. We were supposed to play with a show with them. It was gonna be like it was on my birthday, right before COVID. Like it was like March 28th. So right when COVID, that was our like one of the first shows we had to cancel. They're like a really great like pop punk trio, but they fucking kill it. They're so tight. Mannequin Pussy is a good Philly band.
I would say not a Philly band, but to me, a very underrated band that more people should know is a band out of DC called the Loving Paupers.
Yeah.
It's one of the ex-members of the Pie Tasters started a like, I'm not sure if you know who the Skints are, but it's like very like Skints-esque, where it's like, female vocals with like a heavy like reggae, like reggae, like roots reggae vibe to it. But I saw them, we played at a festival called Brow Stomp for DC Brewing not last August, the one before that. And they played, and I had never heard of them before. And, I've played so many shows. A lot of times it's harder for me to like watch all the bands or just be, like go out, like, just watch everything, especially at a festival. And as soon as they started playing, I literally got from behind the merch table and went and just sat right in the middle and was like, what the hell is this? And then I got their record, and their record is phenomenal. So Loving Paupers out of DC are definitely an underrated, great fucking band that everybody should know about.
Mm-hmm.
I have one. She's like an artist, Emily King. She's based out of Brooklyn, so not Philly, but close. She's like one of my favorite musicians right now. Just kind of like pop, kind of like retro pop, funk, R&B kind of stuff. She's really great.
Very Michael Jackson vibe.
Yeah, she's like a female Michael Jackson. It's crazy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Teenage Bigfoot, I'm definitely aware of. Played a show with them out there at the Kung Fu Necktie. That was dope.
Oh, cool.
They're great. They're great folks. And you mentioned the Skints. They were like one of my highlight bands from Punk Rock Bowling last year.
So good.
Yeah, I caught them and I was immediately like, who is this? This is awesome. And I picked up their record at that show actually and brought it home, and it's really, really good.
Yeah, no, they're definitely a band that like we saw open for a band like 3 or 4 years ago, and it's definitely on the list of like I think all of us in the band collectively like, all right, if the Skints are playing, we're going. So we've seen them a couple times. So yeah, but Loving Paupers are definitely that vibe. So check them out too. They're good.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely take that recommendation to heart for sure. And then yeah, like one of the last questions, I like to throw everyone, and I gave you guys a heads up about this, so hopefully you had a little chance to think about it. But if you had to pick 5 records that you'd have to live with for the rest of your life on a desert island, what would they be?
Who's going first?
All right, I'll go first. Let me get my list. All right, so mine.
Where's your list?
I don't know where my notes are. Okay, so mine are, I feel like, going to be different from these two, but
Good.
whatever.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
We're not the same person.
So they're not in any order, but one of them is Brand New Eyes, Paramore, their 3rd record. I love that album so much. I know like every word of it, and it reminds me of just like being a kid and just like not caring at all. And I'll always love that album, I think. The next one is an album called Woman by Rye. It's not, if you haven't listened to this person, I think it's just one dude, and has kind of like a backing band, but like the album is so good. I don't even know how to like describe it. I guess it's kind of indie, but it's like very like orchestral. There's like strings, and it's so fucking good. It's really good. And then I have Worry by Jeff Rosenstock. I love that album. I listen to it all the time. And then we got another one of my favorite artists, who's also from Brooklyn. Her name is Margaret Glassby. The album is called Emotions and Math. She's like rock and roll, kind of like a grungy rock and roll pop thing. She's fucking great. She's so awesome. She's got like a really crazy like kind of growl when she sings. Really cool. So you should check her out. I have, that's 4. Oh, and then I have Rental Eviction, Bruce Lee Band's new album. Amazing. Chef's Kiss. It's so good. It's so good. Mwah. It's perfect. It's so good. And it's like not very long, but it's amazing.
Short and sweet.
It's short and sweet. It's so good. And then I have honorable mentions to Emily King, who I already mentioned. Her latest album, Scenery, is amazing. And then I also have honorable mentions for two albums that I will never outgrow. Don't look at my list. 2 albums that I will never outgrow. NSYNC's self-titled album.
Christ.
It's their best album, and every song is a banger. And also, Panic at the Disco's first album is amazing. It is really good.
Hey, fair enough. It's your list. You can pick anyone you want.
Okay, who's next?
All right. No particular order. We'll go with The Clash's Give 'Em Enough Rope. Their 2nd record, fucking perfect. Elvis Costello's My Aim Is True. Great freaking album, perfect record. This band Deer Tick, Divine Providence. That is just, it's such a good record. It's like every single song is a completely different genre. Like they're just kind of like most of their music is like it's pretty good, just like kind of like indie rock, whatever, rock and roll. But like this album, it just like one song's a fucking punk rock song, one song is like a beautiful like soul song. And like the arrangements on all the songs and just like the arrangement, the track listing is just like so perfect. I just like can't get over how good that album is. Next we got The Exploding Hearts, Guitar Romantic, like the best power pop band in my opinion, ever. Such a perfect album and tragic story.
Yeah.
If you're not familiar, check out the Exploding Hearts story. And then that's 4, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit, what was the last one? I wrote it down, but my phone is right there. Hold on. Oh my goodness, what is it? All right, you go. I'll think of it.
Okay.
I can't think.
Yeah, that's fine. We can come back to it. Yeah.
All right, so I picked 6, just because I tried to get all different genres represented. Because if I'm going to be trapped on an island, I need diversity. So first is Miles Davis live at the Newport Jazz Festival, 1958. One of the first records that got me into jazz, but the band is just literally the most heavy of the heavyweights of jazz. Miles Davis on trumpet, John Coltrane on sax, Cannonball Adderley on sax, Bill Evans on keys, Jimmy Cobb on drums, and Paul Chambers on bass. It's the definition of like when bebop fucking, and like just the live recording of it is fucking amazing. Blows my mind every time I listen to it. Going in the opposite direction, Every Time I Die is one of my favorite bands ever. So their record Low Teens, which is their latest release, is to me one of the like masterpieces of like fucking hardcore sort of metalcore, but like just with great vocals. That would be like a weird band, but I would love to tour with them just because I would want to watch them every night from side stage. After that would be the Mos Def and Talib Kweli album, or the band Black Star. It's a self-titled album, one of the best hip-hop albums I've ever heard. After that would be Snarky Puppy, their record We Like It Here. Again, front to back is an amazing masterpiece of a record. Then I have Stan Getz, João Gilberto. It is a collective record that features Stan Getz, João Gilberto, Astrid Gilberto, and Antonio Carlos Jobim. It's all just the best bossa nova music you could ever want. That's
a good one.
If I'm going to be on a desert island, I want some Jobim.
That's a good one.
Nice.
Damn. That's so good.
And then last I had Black Flag, first 4 years compilation, just because that's fucking. If I'm going to have one Black Flag, I want a whole bunch of different stuff on it. And then the 6th one, which I had, which is an oddball one, which is a band that I'm not sure if many people know about. Very weird and very strange live show, but they're called Mindless Self-Indulgence.
Oh, yeah.
And the record's, I think it's their second record. It's called Frankenstein Girls Will Seem Strangely Sexy. It's just the most out there weird shit, and I would say 95% of the people I've ever listened to it with are just like, what the fuck? Turn this off. And for whatever reason, it's just so weird all over the place. I love that record.
Nice.
I remembered it.
All right. Yeah, let's hear it.
Joyce Manor's self-titled record.
Oh.
I feel like honestly that was that when I heard that record, like when it came out, I had like he wasn't even a roommate. He was this dude that lived at our house. He lived on our couch basically, and he showed me Leather Jacket when that song came out, and like just like the simplicity and like pure fucking punk rockness of it. I don't know. It just like it seemed so like reachable with my like music talent at the time, and it like made me want to write music because I was like, I guess I was just like listening to so much like good like overproduced. I don't know, like The Clash and like bands that are like a lot more intricate and stuff, and just hearing like Leather Jacket and like it being so good, I was like, I can write songs like this, and like that. I feel like that's when I really started to write music on my own.
Nice.
So, and it's so good, that record.
Also, I find it interesting that out of the three of us, out of all the bands mentioned, I think there was one ska band.
Yeah, I think it was Bruce Lee Band, right?
Bruce Lee band.
Yeah.
I mean, The Clash.
Well, The Clash, yeah. Well, and if you want to include Jeff Rosenstock too.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, well, actually, I think that actually speaks volumes about the idea that ska doesn't have to be like this one-trick pony. Like ska music can incorporate all different types of styles. It's kind of a nice mutant, type of form of music where it can be incorporated in like soul, jazz, R&B, metal, hardcore, like punk rock, whatever you want to do with it. And as long as it's done tastefully, it can, I mean, you can do it sloppily too, but then, you know, I don't know, like
Yeah.
some bands were able to pull it off better than others, but most of it's not very good.
Yeah.
But anyway, hey, you know, it's been such a pleasure having you guys on here, and you know, I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys have coming down the pike, and you know, hopefully that album will come together really smoothly for you, and we'll get it, you know, before too long. But thanks again for being on the show.
Make sure you check out Save Our Stages and Neva.
And wear a fucking mask.
And also, to all the musicians out there, we all want to be on a stage playing right now. It's a bad look to be playing music right now. Stay the fuck home.
Yeah, don't play shows. I mean, like, I get the socially distant ones where it's like seated and you're like, but like the fucking DIY shows that are still happening right now, get the fuck out of here. Like, come on.
I could not agree more. Yeah, it's a bad look. It makes everyone look like shit, and yeah, it's stupid. Yeah. Call it what it is. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you real soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.